I never thought I'd be thankful for my paranoid tendencies, but that tiny nanny cam saved my daughter's life. Looking back, I should have seen the signs long before that rainy November evening. But grief has a way of blinding you to the obvious. My husband Mike died 3 years ago in a construction accident, leaving me to raise our daughter Emma alone. She was only 3 then, just starting to form memories, and now, at 6, she barely remembers the sound of her father's laugh or the way he'd swing her up onto his shoulders. But his mother, Patricia, never let us forget him, or rather, never let me forget that I wasn't good enough to raise his child. Emma needs a proper family environment, Patricia would say during our mandatory Sunday dinners, her eyes sharp as she watched my daughter eat. A child needs structure and discipline. You're too soft with her, Olivia. I bite my tongue, reminding myself that Emma deserved to know her grandmother, that this was her last connection to Mike. But something changed last month when I started dating again. Patricia's passive-aggressive comments turned into outright hostility. Already forgotten my son, have you? She spat one evening after Emma innocently mentioned meeting my new boyfriend David at the park. I suppose 3 years is long enough for some people to move on, but real love lasts forever. Emma's lower lip trembled at her grandmother's tone, and I saw her shrink into herself, something she'd been doing more and more lately during our visits. That night, I ordered the nanny cam, just a precaution, I told myself, probably unnecessary. I wish I had been right. Mommy, do I have to go to Grandma's? Emma asked last Wednesday morning, clutching her favorite stuffed elephant. My tummy feels funny. It's just for one night, sweetheart, I assured her, packing her overnight bag. I have that late meeting with the new clients and Grandma misses you. The words tasted like lies on my tongue, but what choice did I have? Patricia had offered to watch Emma, and my regular sitter was sick with the flu. I tucked the small camera into the front pocket of Emma's backpack, disguised as a cute panda keychain. Remember what I told you about the special panda? I whispered as I helped her put on her rain jacket. Emma nodded solemnly. Keep my backpack with me and make sure Panda can see everything. That's my clever girl. I hugged her tight, trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. If anything makes you uncomfortable, you call me right away, okay? Okay, Mommy. She hugged her elephant closer. Can Mr. Trunk stay in my backpack too? So Panda isn't lonely? I helped her tuck the elephant in next to the camera. Perfect spot. Now they can keep each other company. Patricia was waiting at her door when we pulled up, her face pinched with disapproval as she eyed my work clothes. Really, Olivia? A skirt that short for a business meeting? I kissed Emma goodbye, whispered I love you, and forced myself to drive away. The meeting ran later than expected, and by the time I checked my phone at 9 p.m., I had 3 missed calls from Patricia. You need to come get her. Patricia's voice was cold when I called back. I won't have this kind of behavior in my house. What happened? Is Emma okay? She's fine, but she's been impossible. Refusing to eat her dinner, crying over nothing, asking for you every 5 minutes. I've tried to be patient, but she needs to learn she can't always get her way. A night in the rain might teach her some gratitude. My blood ran cold. What do you mean, in the rain? She's on the back porch. Don't worry, it's covered. Patricia's voice dripped with satisfaction. Sometimes children need tough love to learn respect. My mic turned out perfectly because I didn't coddle him. I gripped my steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white, already turning the car around. She's 6 years old, Patricia. Let her inside right now. Spoiled brats don't deserve shelter in my house, she snapped. Either she apologizes properly and starts showing some respect, or she can stay outside until you get here. Your choice. My mind raced. The camera, was it still working? I pulled into a gas station and grabbed my tablet, hands shaking as I connected to the live feed. The image was dark but clear enough. Emma huddled in a corner of the porch, still clutching her backpack, her small body shivering in her thin pajamas as rain pounded the roof above her. Through the camera's microphone, I could hear her crying softly, calling for me between hiccuping sobs. I understand, I said into the phone, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. I'll pick her up tomorrow morning as planned. Let her think about her behavior overnight. Patricia's surprise was audible. Well, I'm glad you're finally seeing reason. Perhaps there's hope for you yet. Oh, there's hope all right, I whispered after hanging up. Just not the kind you're expecting. I was already dialing 911 as I sped toward Patricia's house. the tablet propped on my dashboard, recording everything. When the dispatcher asked for evidence of the emergency, I smiled grimly. "Don't worry," I said, watching through the camera as Patricia opened the back door. I arrived at Patricia's house the same time as the police, my tablet still recording everything. Two officers approached the front door while I hurried around to the back, my heart pounding with each step. The rain had gotten heavier, and I could hear Emma's sobs before I even reached the porch. "Baby, I'm here," I called out, rushing to gather her shivering body in my arms. She was ice cold, her pajamas soaked despite the porch's partial cover. The thin blanket Patricia had thrown out lay in a wet heap, completely useless. Mommy," Emma stuttered through chattering teeth, clinging to me. "I'm sorry I was bad." "You weren't bad, sweetheart. You did nothing wrong." I wrapped my coat around her just as I heard Patricia's outraged voice from inside. "What is the meaning of this? You can't just barge into my home." "Ma'am, we received a report of child endangerment," one officer stated firmly. "Where is your granddaughter?" "This is ridiculous. I was simply disciplining an unruly child. In my day, we understood the value of tough love." I carried Emma through the back door, her small body trembling against my chest. Patricia's face went from indignant to pale when she saw us, especially when she noticed the two officers behind her. "Officers, I can explain everything," she began, but I cut her off. "Can you explain this?" I pulled out my tablet, playing the footage from the last 2 hours. The crystal-clear audio captured every cruel word, every sob, and most damningly, Patricia's voice saying, "Spoiled brats don't deserve shelter in my house." The female officer's expression hardened as she watched. "Ma'am, how long was the child outside?" "Only a few minutes," Patricia protested, but the timestamp on the video proved otherwise. She was being impossible. Refusing to eat a dinner I slaved over, crying for her mother like a baby. "The dinner?" I interrupted, my voice shaking with rage. "You mean the shrimp scampi you forced her to eat, even though she told you she's allergic to shellfish?" Patricia's face reddened. "She's lying about that allergy. Mike never had any food allergies. It's in her medical records," I spat, pulling up the documents on my phone. "The same records I gave you 3 months ago, along with her EpiPen, which I noticed isn't in her backpack anymore." The male officer stepped forward. "Where is the EpiPen, ma'am?" Patricia's composure cracked. I threw it away. It's just Olivia being overprotective again. She's turned my granddaughter into a weak, whining. That's enough. The female officer pulled out her handcuffs. "Patricia Wilson, you're under arrest for child endangerment and reckless endangerment of a minor." "You can't be serious." Patricia shrieked as the officer began reading her rights. "I was disciplining my granddaughter. I have rights. She's my son's child." "Your son," I said quietly, holding Emma closer, "would be ashamed of you right now." Patricia lunged toward us, making Emma whimper in fear. "How dare you? You've poisoned her against me, turned her soft just like you. Mike would never." "Mike," I cut in, my voice steel, "took Emma to get her allergy testing himself. He's the one who insisted on carrying an EpiPen in every car, every bag. He knew Patricia. He knew and he protected her. While you—" I shook my head, feeling Emma's shivers finally starting to subside. "You just proved you never cared about protecting her at all." As the officers led Patricia away, she kept screaming about her rights as a grandmother, about how she'd fight this in court. But I wasn't worried. The nanny cam had captured everything, not just from tonight, but from every visit over the past month. The subtle cruelty, the psychological manipulation, the constant attempts to turn Emma against me. The paramedics arrived shortly after, checking Emma over thoroughly. Apart from being cold and frightened, she was physically okay. Thank God I'd arrived before she had a chance to eat any of the shrimp. "Mommy," Emma whispered as the paramedic wrapped her in a warm blanket. "Do I still have to come to Grandma's house?" "No, baby." I kissed her forehead, feeling tears stream down my face. "Never again." "Good." She huddled closer. She said Daddy would be mad at me for being weak, but Daddy always said I was strong. "Your daddy was right," I choked out, remembering how Mike had always celebrated Emma's gentle heart, her creativity, her emotional intelligence. "You're the strongest, bravest girl I know." Later that night, as Emma finally slept safely in her own bed, I sat in my living room with Detective Sarah Martinez. watching the full month's worth of footage from the nanny cam. Each clip revealed something worse. Patricia throwing away Emma's asthma inhaler because only weak children have breathing problems, forcing her to sit at the table for hours until she ate foods she was allergic to, berating her for crying when she talked about missing her father. "You have a solid case here," Detective Martinez assured me, taking detailed notes. "Between the footage, the medical records, and tonight's incident, no judge is going to let her anywhere near your daughter again. We'll be pushing for felony charges." I nodded, my hand clenched around my phone where there were already 6 voicemails from Patricia's sister, demanding I drop the charges. What about her threats to fight for grandparents' rights? The detective's smile was grim. After endangering a child with known medical conditions and leaving her out in near-freezing rain, she'll be lucky if she's not facing serious jail time. As I watched her leave, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. For 3 years, I tolerated Patricia's abuse, telling myself it was best for Emma to know her father's family. Now, I realized the best thing I could do for Emma was protect her from toxic people, even if those people shared her blood. The courthouse was packed 3 months later for Patricia's sentencing. My lawyer had advised me not to bring Emma, so she was safe at school, working on an art project with her class. Throughout the trial, Patricia had maintained her innocence, claiming she was just old school in her discipline methods. But the evidence was undeniable. "Your Honor," the prosecutor said, standing to deliver her final statement, "the footage we've seen isn't just about one night in the rain. It shows a pattern of deliberate child endangerment, including withholding necessary medical devices, forcing a child to eat known allergens, and psychological abuse." Patricia sat stone-faced at the defendant's table, her designer outfit and perfectly coiffed hair a stark contrast to the handcuffs on her wrists. She hadn't looked at me once during the proceedings. "Mrs. Wilson," Judge Henderson began, his voice heavy with disapproval, "I've been presiding over family court cases for 20 years, and rarely have I seen such a calculated attempt to harm a child under the guise of discipline." Patricia finally spoke up, her voice quivering. "Your Honor, everything I did was out of love for my granddaughter. My son would be horrified." I interrupted, standing up when the judge nodded for me to speak. "I found Mike's journal last month. He wrote about his own childhood, about how he promised to never treat his children the way you treated him." I pulled out the worn leather notebook, the one I discovered in Mike's old workshop. "He knew exactly who you were, Patricia. He just never got the chance to protect Emma from you himself." The judge cleared his throat. "Mrs. Wilson, this court sentences you to 3 years in prison for child endangerment and reckless endangerment of a minor. Additionally, a permanent restraining order will be put in place. You are never to contact your granddaughter or her mother again." As the gavel struck, Patricia finally broke. "She's all I have left of my son," she wailed as officers approached to lead her away. "You can't keep her from me. I'm her grandmother." "No," I said quietly, though my voice carried in the hushed courtroom. "You're just a woman who tried to hurt my daughter. Blood doesn't make you family, love does." Walking out of the courthouse, I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed with a text from David, who'd been in unwavering support through everything. "Emma's art project is done. She can't wait to show you." "How'd it go?" I smiled, remembering how naturally David had fit into our lives, how gentle he was with Emma's trauma-induced fears. Unlike Patricia, he understood that strength didn't mean an absence of emotions. When I arrived at Emma's school, she was waiting with David, proudly holding up a large canvas. My breath caught. She'd painted our little family, her and me in the center, David slightly to the side with his warm smile, and above us all, a glowing figure I recognized as Mike, watching over us. "See, Mommy?" Emma pointed to the painting. "Miss Collins helped me make Daddy an angel. And look, I put Mr. Trunks and Panda in too." Sure enough, her stuffed elephant and the camera-turned protector sat at our painted feet. "It's beautiful, sweetheart." I hugged her close, breathing in the scent of crayons and K shampoo. "How about we hang it in the living room?" "Really?" Her whole face lit up. "Can we put it where Grandma's old picture was?" I exchanged a glance with David, who squeezed my shoulder supportively. The spot she meant had held a formal portrait of Patricia's family for years, my attempt to keep Mike's memory alive for Emma. Now I realized there were better ways to honor him. "That's the perfect spot," I agreed. "And maybe this weekend we can go through Daddy's old photos, Pick out some happy ones to put up too. Can we put up the one from the beach? Emma asked excitedly. Where Daddy's teaching me to swim. Absolutely. That evening, after Emma was asleep, I sat with David on the porch swing, the same tablet that had saved Emma now showing happier videos. Mike teaching her to walk, Emma's first words, the day she learned to ride a bike. I've been thinking, David said softly, watching a clip of Mike and Emma dancing in the rain. Proper rain gear on, both of them laughing. Maybe we could start a foundation, help other parents spot the signs of abuse from family members. So many people stay quiet because it's family. I leaned against him, thinking of all the red flags I'd ignore because Patricia was family. That's a wonderful idea. We could provide cameras, legal support, and therapy, he added. For kids and parents, speaking of which, how's Emma doing with Dr. Torres? Better every week. She's starting to understand that what happened wasn't her fault. I smiled as a new video started. Emma's 5th birthday, Mike singing off-key while she giggled. She's so much like him, you know, strong in all the ways that matter. David kissed my temple, just like her mom. Inside, Emma's nightlight cast a warm glow through the house, and her new painting washed over us all. A reminder that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about love, protection, and the courage to stand up for what's right.